Shalom, everyone. I want to share with all of you a very special teaching about Joseph and Messiah. Every biblical figure had a messianic characteristic. All of them, they reveal different aspects of Yeshua, but Joseph, out of all of the biblical figures, is very special and contains so many messianic ingredients. So let us begin with everything since the beginning. Joseph was the chosen one of his father, the favorite. We know that Yeshua is the chosen one of the Father, Almighty Father in heaven. Then we have another very interesting parallel. When Joseph was born, that meant an exodus from Haran to Israel. When Yeshua was born, there was an immediate exodus from Israel into Egypt. Then we have Joseph's brothers did not believe in him. They were jealous. The same, the Pharisees. And the Sadducees, they didn't believe in Messiah. Joseph's brothers rejected his right to rule. Then we have the same. The Jewish authorities rejected Yeshua's right to rule. Joseph's brothers conspired to kill him. The Jewish authorities in Jerusalem also conspired to kill Yeshua. They stripped Joseph of his garments. The same they stripped Yeshua of his garments. They tainted Joseph's garments with blood of a lamb, and Yeshua was the lamb of Almighty Elohim with his garment completely tainted in blood. Very interesting. Joseph was sold for 20 pieces of silver. Yeshua was sold for 30 pieces of silver. 20 and 30 is 50, which is a jubilee. It means redemption. Everything Joseph put his hand to do, it prospered according to Genesis. Well, everything that Yeshua did, it was also prosperous. All things were laid into Joseph's trust. We learn from Genesis 39. And then it says in John that Father has given all things into his hand, Yeshua's hands. Then we have Joseph's brothers did not recognize him when they met him after so many years. And also for about 2,000 years, the vast majority of Israel has not recognized Yeshua. Joseph was tempted by this evil woman, but he did not sin. In the same way, Yeshua was tempted by the devil, but he remained faithful. Joseph was bound and taken into a dungeon before ascending to power. Yeshua was bound and crucified before ascending to power. By selling Joseph as a slave and betraying him, that meant redemption in the end for Israel. By selling Yeshua and crucifying him, that meant the redemption of the souls. Very interesting. Then when Joseph was in prison, he was placed with two criminals. He gave a good report to one and a bad to another one. Interestingly, when Yeshua was crucified, he was put with two criminals. He gave a very good prophecy message to one, and the second one didn't believe Yeshua. We see that one criminal was given life and the other death in the story of Joseph. The same thing. We see one criminal entering into paradise, the other entering into condemnation. Joseph was very wise and had prophetic dreams and visions. Yeshua the same. He is the great prophet. Then we have Joseph's brothers bow their knee to him. Eventually, every knee will bow down before Yeshua. Then we have both of them were around 30 years old when they began their ministry. Yeshua was about 30 years old when he began his ministry. Then both had gentle names. Joseph was known as Sephanat Panel, kind of a secret identity. And Yeshua in the exile is known as Jesus Christus. Very interesting. So both had a foreign look, and both were revered by the Gentiles. Very interesting. Both were falsely accused, Yeshua by the Sanhedrin, Joseph by the evil woman. Then we have another very interesting thing. Rachel, who was the mother of Joseph, she died in Bethlehem. Bethlehem happens to be the place where Yeshua is born. So Joseph has a very strong connection to Bethlehem. Yeshua's earthly father was also named Joseph. Both of them had a foreign bride. Joseph was married to an Egyptian princess. Well, Yeshua has a huge pride of all of the believers in every single country on all nations on earth. Both had a vision, a prophetic vision about a 7-year apocalypse. Joseph saw 7 years of famine, terrible famine. Yeshua tells us in the book of Revelation of 7 years of judgment, 3.5 years of the Antichrist, 3.5 years of the two witnesses proclaiming judgment on this world. Both were betrayed and sold to pagans. Joseph was sold to the Ishmaelites, and Yeshua was sold to the Romans. Both of them, as I said before, spent time in Egypt. Joseph, several years in Egypt. Yeshua, when he was born, he spent several years in Egypt. So both of them needed to experience the diaspora. Both of them provided bread during a time of great calamity. Joseph was storing the bread, while Yeshua is the bread of life. He was providing bread for a spiritually starving population. Both were shepherds. Yeshua is called the Great Shepherd. He was the Great Shepherd of Israel, and Joseph was also shepherd of sheep when he was very young. Both of them brought an evil report about their brothers. Joseph denounced the practice of their brothers and brought the report to his father the same thing. Yeshua denounced the evil practices of the Pharisees and Sadducees of the time. Both of them will reveal their identity in a time of tribulation. Joseph revealed to his brothers the second time they went to Egypt. Yeshua will reveal his identity on his second coming, also during the tribulation, and it says that they will see the one they have pierced. Then both of them were loved by a remnant while hated by a majority. We know Joseph, when he was betrayed by his brothers, Reuben was not present, and Benjamin was not present either. So Joseph was loved by Reuben and Benjamin, who are the first and the last. The firstborn of the father, the last fruit. They symbolize the remnant. The same thing Yeshua. Yeshua was hated by the vast majority of Israel, but was loved by a remnant, the 12 apostles, the early 70, the early 120, the 3,000 that got baptized and got the Holy Spirit, and several thousands in Samaria. Both had great wisdom. So these are few of the great parallels between the story of Joseph and Yeshua. Thank you for listening. Shalom.